I published a novel about a month ago. And I thought I'd read you a little excerpt from it. And if you like it and want to read more of it, I've got business cards out at the front table there. That's one of the perks of being the president. I can put my own business cards out on the table there. I actually am going to sit down. Just to make this a little easier to manage with all the things in my hands. I definitely matched the iPad to the 40s fedora. That was part of the plan. Okay. It was an old memory, the kind that lies concealed in the corners of the mind until it emerges in times of tension. A dirt floor, a boy, and a night sky filled with so many stars that it almost seemed white. The stars were a surprise she prepared for Brennan. The boy had been moody ever since she met him, but his malaise was darker now. He had set himself apart from Jayla and the professor, brooding, barely speaking. But as she led him out from the room where he slept, and as the stars came into view overhead, his harsh expression melted, and he hugged her with more warmth than she thought possible. Now they were lying side by side on the ground, staring up at the sky. "I wish I could take you to the manor," Brenner said, "show you some real stars." "Hey," Jayla said, pointing at the sky, "these ones are real." "What do you mean?" "You think I created an entire sky?" Jayla said. "If I was that good, we'd be out of here by now." She looked around the cavern. At one end of the room, she could still see the green rocks and the dust that had collapsed there, trapping them inside when the avalanche hit. There were several small holes in the barricade, allowing the air that kept them alive, but they lacked any tools with which to expand the holes and escape. Throughout the rest of the cave, the walls were not green, but orange, strange, rough, and glowing. They jutted up from the hard dirt floor, but instead of curving around to form a ceiling, their tops appeared suspended in the air, like the ancient walls of the Rowland Temple ruins in Villisud, or the famous arches of the Old Empire, waiting to collapse. "What did you do then?" Brenner asked. "I spoke to the rocks," Jayla said. "The ceiling, I mean. It wouldn't move aside to let us out, but I got it to hide itself, to turn invisible, so I could see the sky through it." She glared at him. "The real sky." Brenner frowned. "You spoke to the ceiling?" "Not with words." Jayla was concentrating on the orange rocks and on the power that coursed through her, trying to reach out to both at the same time, when suddenly she felt the air shimmer and a wave of warmth rush through her body, starting at her feet and shooting past her ankles and up through her legs, her center, her chest. She saw a vision then, a jagged gray boulder jolted with a flash of lightning. She raised a hand to steady herself, but faster than a blink, the warmth was gone and the image faded. "Have you ever thought about what it would feel like to be a rock in a place like this?" she asked Brenner. "Rocks don't feel anything." "I know, it's just a thought." She had thought for several minutes about the vision. Something cold and lifeless suddenly seeing a surge of power rush through it. Unpleasant. Jarring. Then she imagined the feeling continuing non-stop, like spending hours at that carnival game that tested how long you could stand an electric shock pulsing in your hands. And the magic responded. Flash. A huge mass breaking apart, its pieces melting, and flash. The vision gone. Jayla focused on physical changes, on no longer being the shape you once were. This was one Jayla really could understand. After a month and a half in this well, her own body was no longer the 16-year-old one she remembered. "I've used the magic," Brenner said. He said it grudgingly, as though the very word was shameful. "There's no rhyme or reason to when it works. Sometimes you think about something, boom. Other times it happens when you don't think about it. Once I was desperate for water, and I bet my whole mind to finding some, and I felt it stir in me, and I heard raindrops. My entire room was raining, and I stuck my tongue out and I drank it straight out of the air, but I tried the exact same thing 2 days later, and nothing happened. Well, this one worked because somehow I understood the rocks," Jayla said. "Don't ask me how, all I know is that the magic kept giving me clues, and after a while it felt like I was talking to the rocks themselves, and I knew I could turn them off, fade them out, without knowing how I knew it." Brenner grimaced. "I don't like this." "Neither do I," Jayla admitted. "I do like your sky, though," Brenner added. "Thanks." She remembered watching him as he left that day. She'd pulled the moody, brooding Brenner out of his shell briefly. She felt the incredible warmth of his hug and the strange tingling that swept through her stomach. She felt something else, a sense of partnership or friendship, as they watched the stars together from the dirt floor of the cavern. But then she felt a very different Brenner, a cold one, aloof and untrusting, as he withdrew from the room. Jayla reached out to the magic then, but not with much hope that she would ever truly understand him.